When should I turn off tank stance? What is up, team, and welcome to another episode of Tank Academy. This one is more theoretical than practical, as this is a question I've seen posed in the community for quite some time now with various answers and debates behind it. With that being said, I'd like to give my take on this question. So to a newer player, the thought process of turning off your tank stance and giving up defense for more damage may be a little odd, as it goes against what a tank is traditionally in MMORPGs. Due to this, newer players are unsure if they should have tank stance on, off, or when to toggle between the two, which I imagine is quite frustrating when experiencing the endgame of a new MMORPG for the first time. But here's the thing, 99% of content in this game, including new patch content, is doable in full-time tank stance and in a conservative tanking style, aka heavily defensive and reliant on tank stance. The 1% is of course ultimate, and that of hardcore groups wanting a week 1 kill on the entire tier. For that 1% group of players, my opinion would change slightly. However, because this series is aimed towards the tanking community as a whole, especially newer tanks, I will express those opinions in this video as what I believe to be the correct way to tackle this tank stance malarkey based off of my experience and playstyle. So if you've seen episode 2 of Tank Academy cooldown timelines, you will know that I actively plan out a timeline for each boss when I am encountering it for the first time, even as a solo pug player. If you haven't checked out that video, I highly recommend you do, as it plays a big part in the process of developing your understanding, fundamentals and confidence within the realm of tank swapping. So to cut it short, here are my recommendations on how to tackle the tank stance system. So 1. When encountering a fight or a phase within a fight for the very first time or first few attempts, you should 100% be in tank stance. The truth is, I have raided with tanks who are so obsessed with damage that they enter a new progression phase of a fight which we haven't cleared and are main tanking the boss in damage stance. Multiple times. I don't care if you want some extra DPS in a phase where we are inevitably going to wipe in. The goal of tanks should be to see as much of the new phase as possible for the sake of the group. There's no EP in here, just stop it. Number 2, when you have farmed a fight or multiple phases in a fight, you should be actively looking at disabling your tank stance in order to optimize damage and skip mechanics if applicable. This can be another form of mitigation. Is this done randomly or is it done by feel? Absolutely not. Using the system I demonstrate in episode 2 of Tank Academy, you are logically planning where you do and do not use tank stance. This works as a solo and static raider, and of course in a static you can pre-plan a lot more with the team, meaning you can get away with closer calls to push raid damage. Examples of this are, purposely dropping to 10% health on purpose and not getting healed. What if I am not comfortable changing stances? Like anything, it's all about practice. Walk before you can run. Defeat the boss multiple times playing extremely safe, and then start gradually coming out your stance at your own pace. There's a lot of trial and error in this process, which is absolutely fine, and why learning parties exist. Check out YouTube POV clears, Twitch streams, forums, discords, and of course your own recordings. 3. Aren't I stressing out my healer and making them heal more by 20% or a certain value? Well, with this, I recommend watching Momo-kun's guide to healer optimization if you see people still saying this, especially as this is a myth that players can make up without understanding the healing meta behind Final Fantasy XIV. This does not affect the healer damage output. Speed kills would have tanks abusing their tank stance if this was the case. Look at any research or log information out there such as FF logs, the data is there. Both can output high damage and not sacrifice for one another. 20% is really not going to justify using an extra GCD as a healer when they have access to OGCDs. If you're going to use a GCD on a heal, you're most likely going to use it anyway, whether or not they are in tank stance. The boss meta in this game is fairly predictable, with the annoying auto attacks followed by a big mechanical hit of some sort. Number 4, I just want to tank and not bother with damage. It's not my style. If you don't mind the pace you clear at and have no intention of doing hardcore raiding or ultimate, this is absolutely fine. The content nowadays is accessible, and long gone are the days of Gordius and Midas difficulty tiers. So overall, that's my take on the whole tank stance thing going around. Hopefully this helps you folks establish more of a narrative and timeline for what you need to do to answer this question. feel free to leave a comment below the video relating to this, video topic. But for now, guys, I am out.